I used to think love could fix anything, even the cracks that people hide behind their smiles. But I was wrong, because the moment my stepsister walked into our lives, everything I thought I knew about love, family, and loyalty shattered. Before I begin, if you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, someone who wore the mask of family, I want you to stay till the end. This isn't just a story of revenge. It's a story of reclaiming your power when life tries to take it all away. So, if you believe in healing after heartbreak, please like, subscribe, and stay with me. Because what I'm about to tell you changed everything. Her name was Maya. And when my father remarried, she became my stepsister. She was beautiful in that quiet, dangerous way that draws people in. Everyone loved her instantly. My mother had died years before, and my father, he was just trying to fill the emptiness in his heart. I couldn't blame him for that. At first, Maya was kind. We laughed together, shared clothes, watched late-night movies. I remember thinking, maybe I could have a sister again. Maybe she could be family. But I learned too late that some people don't come into your life to love you. They come to study your weaknesses, to use them. It started small. She'd compliment me in front of my father, then mock me behind his back. She'd accidentally forget to include me in family plans. She was charming, the kind of charming that makes people blind to manipulation. And my father, he changed. He started believing things she whispered, little lies twisted into truth. She doesn't appreciate you, Dad. She said she wishes Mom was still alive. She doesn't love this family anymore. One night, I overheard him say, maybe it's time she moves out. That's when I realized she wasn't just after my trust. She was after my place. When she moved into my old room after I left for college, I told myself it didn't matter. But then she took more. My father stopped calling. My stepmother avoided me. Every birthday went silent. It was like I had died, and Maya had taken over my life. But she didn't stop there. She found her way into every corner of what was mine, my family, my peace, and eventually the man I loved. His name was Ethan. We had been together for 3 years. He used to say he loved the way I saw the world, quiet, curious, sincere. But when Maya met him, something shifted. She was magnetic, confident, wild, everything I wasn't. It started with small things. She'd text him for fun, send pictures from family gatherings, joke about how he should come visit. Then one day, he stopped answering my calls. A week later, I saw them together, her hand in his laughter, the same laugh that used to be mine. That's the kind of pain you can't describe. It's not loud. It's silent, like a scream trapped in your chest, echoing until you forget who you are. I remember standing there, watching them from across the street, thinking she stole everything I loved. My family, my father's affection, my home, my heart. And still, she looked at me like she'd won. For a long time, I broke quietly. I moved to another city, started working long hours just to stay numb. But every night, I'd lie awake wondering what made her so powerful. What made her able to twist everything I loved into something poisonous. Then one morning, I looked in the mirror and realized she didn't steal my life. I gave her power by believing I needed her approval. That's the day I stopped surviving and started building. I found a small apartment, started freelancing as a writer. I poured my heartbreak into words, every lie, every wound, every piece of betrayal. The pain became poetry. The silence became strength. And slowly, the world started noticing. My stories about women who lose everything and rise again, began going viral. Ironically, people said my writing felt real. They didn't know it was real. Months later, A major publisher reached out. I signed a deal for my first book, The Girl They Tried to Break. It sold out in weeks. Suddenly, interviews, podcasts, and features came pouring in. My voice, the one she tried to silence, became louder than ever. Then one night, I got a message. It was from Maya. She wrote, "Proud of you. Always knew you'd make it." But I knew what that really meant. She finally realized she couldn't destroy me. I didn't reply. I didn't need to, because I'd already taken back everything she loved, not out of spite, but through peace. My father reached out after reading my book. He cried, said he wished he had seen the truth earlier. My stepmother apologized, said Maya had changed. Ethan tried calling too, said he missed the way I understood him. But I didn't answer, because I finally understood something. I didn't need to make them regret losing me. Their regret was inevitable once I found my worth. Maya stole my family, my love, and my peace. But I took back everything she ever wanted, without revenge, without cruelty, only with success and silence. And maybe that's what real revenge looks like, when you stop trying to make them see your value and start living like they never had the power to define it. Now, when I look at myself, I see more than pain. I see peace. And if I ever meet Maya again, I'll thank her, because without her betrayal, I would have never met this version of me, strong, free, and untouchable, because the truth is she didn't ruin me. She made me remember who I was meant to be. You know what they don't tell you about betrayal? It doesn't end when they walk away. It stays in your chest, in your breath, in the way you stop trusting even silence. After Maya's message, I told myself I was fine. I had success, recognition, a new home filled with quiet, the kind that doesn't hurt anymore. But peace is never permanent when your past still has unfinished business. Sometimes, life gives you small signs, little reminders that healing isn't linear. Mine came the day I was invited to speak at a charity gala in my hometown. I hadn't been back in 5 years. The theme was finding strength after loss. I almost said no, but something inside whispered, "You need to face it." When I walked into that ballroom, I didn't just feel nervous. I felt ghosts. Every chandelier shimmered like it knew my secrets. Every smile felt too familiar. And then I saw her. Maya. She was standing near the entrance, wrapped in an elegant red dress, laughing, the same laugh that once made my heart ache. But this time, it didn't. She hadn't changed much. Maybe a little older, a little sharper around the eyes, but still the same woman who once made me question my worth. Our eyes met for a second too long. She smiled that polite smile, the one that hides a storm. And I simply nodded, because I didn't come here to fight her. I came here to show her she never broke me. When I walked onto that stage, I took a deep breath. The audience waited. I looked out at them, at her, and said, "Sometimes family isn't who you're born with. It's who doesn't flinch when you fall apart. And sometimes losing everything you thought you needed is the only way to find yourself." The room went quiet. Every eye was on me, even hers. For the first time, I spoke my story, not with anger, but with grace. I didn't say names. I didn't accuse anyone. But I saw Maya's face change when she realized every word was about her. After my speech, people stood, applauded. Some even cried. It wasn't pride that filled me. It was released. Later that night, as I packed up my notes, I felt a tap on my shoulder. Maya. She looked different now, softer, maybe even unsure. She said, "You've changed." I smiled. That was the point. For a second, she looked like she wanted to apologize, but pride stopped her. Instead, she said, "You always did know how to make people love you." I looked at her, not with anger, but calm. "No, Maya, I just stopped needing people who didn't. She didn't reply. She just looked away, her eyes glassy. Maybe guilt, maybe regret. And in that silence, I realized I didn't hate her anymore. But fate, it seems, wasn't finished with us. A few months later, I got a call from my father. His voice trembled, the same way it used to when he didn't know how to say something painful. Maya's struggling, he said quietly. Her husband left. She lost her job. She's not herself. For a moment, I didn't know what to feel. This was the woman who had taken everything from me, who watched me cry and felt no remorse. And now life had brought her to her knees. He continued. She asked about you. I stayed silent. She said she wishes she had been kinder. The old me, the one she destroyed, might have felt satisfaction, but the new me just felt tired, because revenge isn't joy, it's understanding. It's the calm that comes when you realize the storm has passed. Still, I agreed to meet her. When I saw her again, she wasn't the Maya I remembered. Her hair was shorter, unkempt. Her eyes carried the weight of someone who'd lost too many battles. We sat at a quiet cafe. No greetings. No fake smiles. Just silence between two women who once shared a family and a wound. She was the first to speak. I don't expect you to forgive me, she said, but I needed to see you. I needed to remember what peace looks like. Her words hit something deep inside me. Peace. That word had cost me years of pain. I asked her, softly, why did you do it, Maya? Why did you need to destroy everything I loved? She looked down, then whispered, because you had what I never did. You had Dad's love, his trust, his warmth. I thought if I could take it from you, I'd finally feel enough. It's strange how the truth doesn't always bring closure. Sometimes it just leaves you empty. I said, you could have had all of that, too. But you chose envy over family. She nodded. Tears filled her eyes, the first I'd ever seen from her. I know, she said. And now I have nothing. For the first time in years. I reached across the table and touched her hand. You still have a chance to start over, I said. You just have to stop chasing what destroys you. She looked at me, surprised, maybe even confused. You'd forgive me? She asked. I smiled faintly. Forgiveness isn't for you, Maya. It's for me. We sat there, silent again. But it wasn't hatred this time. It was something human. When I left that cafe, I didn't look back. Because forgiveness isn't a gift to the one who hurt you. It's the final act of freedom. That night, I wrote another story, not about pain, but redemption. It was called The Sister Who Taught Me to Rise. When it was published, I didn't expect what happened next. It went viral again. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was honest. Readers wrote to me from all over the world. One message stood out. I forgave my sister after reading your story. I think I finally understand what healing means. And in that moment, I realized my story wasn't just mine anymore. It belonged to everyone who'd ever been broken by family, by jealousy, by love, and chose to rise anyway. Weeks later, I found an envelope on my doorstep. No name, no address, just my name in familiar handwriting. Inside was a note. Thank you. I've started therapy. You were right. Peace isn't something you steal. It's something you earn. I cried that night, not out of sadness, but because the circle was finally closed. Maya had stolen my family. But in the end, I helped her find her own humanity. And maybe that's what strength really is. Not becoming their nightmare, but becoming their mirror. Because when they finally see what they did, and who you became despite it, that's when the real revenge begins. And for the first time, I slept without the past echoing in my chest. I remember the night everything changed, not in a loud, dramatic way like you'd expect from revenge stories. But quietly, like the air itself decided to shift. My stepsister, Naomi, had taken everything that once made my world feel warm. My family's love, my father's attention, even my fiancé. For years, I carried that silence like a shadow that followed me everywhere I went. But something in me broke. Or maybe it finally woke up. I stopped waiting for apologies that were never coming. And instead, I started writing my own story. Not with words, but with action and grace. You know, people often think revenge means destruction. But real revenge, the kind that lasts, is rebirth. It's when the person who broke you sees you rise in ways they never imagined you could. And that's exactly what I did. Naomi always thrived on making me small. Her favorite thing to say was, "You're just not made for big things, Leah. You're too soft." Maybe she was right. I was soft. But what she didn't understand was that softness doesn't mean weakness. It means I could bend without breaking. And while she was busy burning bridges, I was quietly building roads. I moved to another city, far from the whispers, far from the eyes that watched me fall. I worked day and night, 2 jobs, sometimes 3. I slept on floors, skipped meals, and smiled anyway, because I knew one day I'd come back, not for them, but for me. Years passed, and with every sunrise, I became someone she wouldn't recognize. I finished my degree, launched my own small interior design studio, and started gaining clients. Real clients. My work was delicate, soulful. People said they could feel something in my designs. That was my secret. Every color, every light, every space I created came from pain I refused to let control me. And then, one day, fate, or maybe karma, decided it was time. A luxury real estate company reached out to collaborate on a high-profile project. It was Naomi's husband's firm, the same man she stole from me, the same man who once promised to build me a home. Before he built one with her. My hands shook when I saw the name in the email. I almost deleted it. But then I remembered. I was no longer the Leah who begged to be seen. I was the Leah who earned her name back. So I said yes. Our first meeting was surreal. I walked into that glass building, my heels clicking against the marble floor. And there he was, David, my ex, Naomi's husband. His face paled when he saw me. He stood up slowly, stammering my name like it was a ghost from a life he wished he hadn't buried. And then she walked in, Naomi, wearing the kind of smile that said, "I still own the room." But this time she didn't. I greeted her softly, with the kind of grace she could never imitate. "Naomi," I said, "it's been a long time." The room went quiet. I could almost hear her heartbeat. Or maybe it was mine. From that moment, something shifted in her eyes. For the first time, she didn't look at me like I was beneath her. She looked at me like she was afraid I'd become something she couldn't compete with. And she was right. The project required us to work together, weekly meetings, late-night revisions, site visits. I was professional, poised, almost painfully kind. That was my weapon, kindness. Because there's nothing more unsettling to a manipulator than a victim who no longer reacts. Naomi tried, of course. Subtle jabs, half smiles, fake compliments. "You've done well for yourself, Leah." I'm surprised. I'd just smile. "Thank you, Naomi. You always did have a way of motivating me." David couldn't meet my eyes. Every time I spoke, he looked at the floor. I saw the cracks forming in their perfect marriage, the exhaustion in her tone, the guilt in his silence. I didn't have to lift a finger. Time was doing the revenge for me. One evening, after a long meeting, David caught up to me in the parking lot. He looked older, heavier, like the weight of his choices had finally settled on his shoulders. "Leah," he said softly, I never stopped thinking about you. I didn't turn around. I just said, then maybe you should have thought before you chose her. It wasn't anger in my voice, just truth. And it stung him more than any insult ever could. Weeks went by, and the project started making waves in the industry. My designs were praised in magazines, social media posts, and interviews. Naomi's firm was getting recognition, but my name was the one everyone remembered. One afternoon, we were invited to an award ceremony. Our project had been nominated for Design of the Year. I almost didn't go, but something in me wanted to see it through. When they called my name as the winner, I saw Naomi's face, frozen in disbelief, her smile cracking just enough for me to see the truth beneath it. I walked up the stage, my heart steady, my steps slow, and in that moment, I realized something profound. I hadn't taken back what she stole. I had built something entirely new. My family eventually found their way back to me too, slowly. Quietly, my father called one evening, his voice trembling. Leah, I was wrong about everything, and I forgave him, not because he deserved it, but because I deserved peace. Naomi, she faded, like all storms do. Her marriage ended a year later. Her charm no longer worked when the world stopped believing her lies. And me, I found calm, not the loud kind, but the kind that hums in your bones when you finally know your worth. Sometimes I still think about her, not with hate, but with gratitude. Because if she hadn't tried to steal everything I loved, I might never have learned that I could build a life that no one could take away. So, yes, my stepsister stole my family. But in the end, I took back something far greater, myself.